Hello, my name is Ruby, and this is Coming Across 777 channel. I'm Crystal's mother. Anyway, so we got a few events that actually happened that we want to tell you about to encourage you. The first one happened, it's been a couple months ago, and I had the dates written down, but I didn't bring them with me today to do these videos because I don't have a brain. But anyway, the first one was I let my daughter borrow my car because hers was getting worked on, and she has to drive to work, and I don't. I work from my home, so I could afford to let her drive. I borrow my car, so I did, and she'd come and pick me to take me up to church. But I was loading up my car, and I accidentally locked myself out of the house. Okay, and she'd already double checked the doors twice, so we knew it was locked. And she had her two kids with us, and they're teenagers, so we got four people witness to this. So when I realized what I'd done, I said, "Oh, I've locked myself out." And I said, "Oh gosh!" And so we all walked back up to my back door. And before I actually grabbed that door handle, I just held my hand there and said, "Oh, please, God, please." That's what I said, wasn't it? God, please. And I grabbed that doorknob and I pulled with all my might, but I didn't have to. I knew God was up there laughing at that point because that door come flying back and it was still locked too. I could just pull it and it would have opened up for
She
me.
about fell.
I did. I about fell whenever I pulled it because I pulled it hard. I was expecting to have to put some effort into this. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm one of those people. I believe if you help, you have to help yourself if you expect help. But anyway, the door opened, and I'm telling you what, we are so thankful because we got to go to church. I didn't have to call nobody to come and get my door open, but we was able to go to church, and we got there on time and everything. So how was?
Well, with that one too, at first she didn't think it was actually latched when she pulled it open, but I was like, no, that door was latched. I can tell you that because when I shut it, I pulled on it with all my might twice, and it didn't come open.
And it didn't come open, so we knew it was locked. And I said, "Oh, I've locked my," and I've done that before because I've had to call her, and she lives, I don't know, it takes
About
a
30
good 30
minutes
minutes
away.
away, and it was kind of cold that day, so, it was important that door, we didn't stay outside too long. Yeah, it was cold because it was in the wintertime there. And so God, He watches over us, He protects us, He helps us when He needs it. And all I said was, "Please, God," because He knew we wanted to go to church that day, and we got to go. And then it was probably a month later. So that had happened about 2 months ago. Then about a month later, I was looking for a freezer because I had needed one. It was for a special project, and so when I searched it and found some online, they wouldn't deliver them. So I asked my son-in-law would he, and he was going to go pick it up for me, but his truck broke down. So I said, well, that's not going to work because I was telling him where to go pick one up. I said, and so I prayed about it, and a few days later, I'm searching again, and then the first time there was all white, and I really didn't want a white freezer, but I would have took it; it would have worked. So the next time I'm searching, hey, this black one pops up for the same price, same size, and they're going to deliver it. I said, yeah, buddy, thank you, God. So I ordered that one, and they delivered it within 2 days. But it was black, and that's what color I really wanted. But first time I didn't even see a black one. And with this coronavirus pandemic, it has really been tough to find some things. You know what I'm saying? Because last year we thought we were going to do some canning. It took what? Like 3 months to find a canner.
In jars.
And then the problem was with the jars. I'm going, really? It's kind of like you get one thing, you have to wait and search and keep looking, and you find what else you need. You know what I'm saying? Like we decided to do some sewing. Oh, sewing machines. That was another thing you couldn't find.
Yeah, but luckily we already had sewing machines.
Yeah, we just didn't have a serger. We had
We
the
just
sewing
didn't
machine.
have like
But
some of the materials and things
yeah,
we
the
needed.
material, you couldn't find material. We had trouble getting material. You couldn't find the elastic. Oh, that was a hard thing to find was elastic. So
everybody started making masks.
yeah, everybody's using it to make masks, and it's like, okay. So it was tough to find some things, and sometimes you just couldn't. So we bought it, and as we found it. So that's the end of that story. So God, he was watching out for me there, because I said, Lord, you know I have need of this freezer, and I got it.
Mm-hmm.
So He is good to us all the time. God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. And what was the other one I was going to tell? Oh, so this happened April 14th. I wasn't feeling good. I got up. It's actually started on 14th, 13th, 12th, 11th, the Sunday, April 11th. Started off a double vision at church. I seen two of the pastor, two of the people sitting is at a kind of diagonal. Two of those, so I turned, so because it was messing up my brain, is what it was doing. And but I didn't have any other symptoms, and I didn't think anything else about it. So I worked Monday, I worked Tuesday, and I actually had to pray driving home to make it home safely, because it's really hard to drive when you see two of everything. Wednesday, when I got up, I was off balance, and I was dizzy, and I had nausea, and then I had but the headache was kind of strange. It's like splitting my skull in half, and only the left side hurt, and around my left eye was real bad hurting, and a lot of pain, and the double vision. Except I didn't notice then that my vision in my left eye was affected. I don't think I recognized that till the next day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was the next day before I realized that my vision in my right eye was affected. Anyway, so first I contacted my other daughter, and she never did hit me back. And so I contacted my Crystal, and because she had borrowed my car again, and I said, I need you to come get me and take me to the emergency room, because everybody knows if I'm in dire straits, if I'm calling you and say, hey, I need to go to the hospital or to the doctor, because it's just not a place I really want to go, that I volunteer to go unless I don't have a choice. So and she said after it, she said on the way up there, she said, you didn't talk much. You didn't talk much coming back, because I refused to stay too, by the way. Anyway, so she prayed all the way to come get me. So that was at least 30-minute prayer right there. She got me, and then we prayed. She prayed all the way up there, and it took about an hour or so to get up there for the hospital. Yeah, because of my insurance. And she prayed the entire time out there that I was back there getting checked out. And so my blood pressure had dropped to 91/51. And when she come back there, they finally let her come back there. And she noticed the entire beds of my fingernails had turned completely white. Didn't have any color whatsoever. I've never seen that before. And so I was diagnosed as suspected mini stroke, because I refused to spend the night. So that's why it's not a diagnosed as a mini stroke. But I'm still here today because she prayed for me, and God's still watching out. And I refused to stay because they give me this some type of medicine or dye for the CT scan. Oh, it made me sicker than so sick. And they give me a Valium shot, and they already give me morphine, okay? But they give me the Valium so they can finish up the CT scan. So it worked, because I was out. But they brought me back there, and they did tell me, they suggested I stay the night, and I said no, I think I'll go on home. So Crystal, she drove me back home, and she said, you didn't talk much coming back home. I guess when I got home, I went straight to bed, basically. But anyway, she said she spoke to me the next morning, because she stayed the night with me. She said I was kind of grumpy. I said, well, I don't recall that, but I knew when I got up later that day, I felt a lot better. And I knew, more people had been praying for me. I could just feel it. You know what I'm saying? It was such an improvement. So I didn't work on Thursday, but I was back to work on Friday. So God's been keeping me on my feet. I guess He's not done with me yet.
Yeah.
He's got something.
And that was fully God too, because at the hospital they treated her well, but as far as actually like treating the condition, they didn't really do any of that.
They didn't do any of that.
They didn't give her anything except for the meds that she just mentioned. It wasn't really. It was just a bunch of tests, and then this is a possibility, and she's like, okay, well, I'll go home. And that was it. So that was fully God.
That was fully God. There's no doubt about that, because they didn't give me any medicine for the suspected mini stroke. But I know it took until, and the next day on Thursdays when I noticed that it had affected the vision in my right eye, which is my right eye is my best eye because my left eye is the weak eye, and I used to be cross-eyed at one time when I was a child too. So, and they didn't know that the left eye was the weak eye until I was 19. I believe it's when I was diagnosed, and it's too late to correct that. So, but I was back to work, and it took till Tuesday, um, 6 days later after I went to the hospital for my vision, the double vision to go away and the my right eye vision to come back like it was before I had the suspected mini stroke. But anyway, I'm still standing, still here today, and it's not like a lot's been happening to me here lately, but I think God is letting it happen to me because He knows I have a big mouth and I'm gonna tell everybody about it. And so now my daughter, she's going to tell about her little incident um, with the deer. So I'll let her go over here and tell it. And thank you for listening and have a blessed day.
You see the thing shaking. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Okay, so this has been a while back. I think this was around like the beginning of the year, wasn't it? Like January, February, something like that.
One of them times I let you borrow my car, so
I think it was one of
maybe
those
I think
months.
it's February. February.
Yeah, I think it was in February. Once again, I was borrowing my mom's car. I think this is around about the same time as that we got locked out of the house, actually.
It's right before that.
So I was driving to work, and when I leave to work, especially back then, it was still dark outside. And I don't know what it is with the deer around where I live at. It's just like they make it a point to hit whatever I'm driving. Most of the time they hit me. Okay, that's not a lie. They really do. They hit me. I had one like dive down into the side of my car. I don't even know why. I don't know what the purpose was. It was up here out of the way and it just dove down into my car one time. But
Well,
anyways,
my car.
yeah, it wasn't her car. And so this morning, and I'm on my way to work, and I happened to see a deer that had come down over this little hill, and it was starting to run down into the road. And so I hit the brake, but by the time I had actually saw the deer and hit the brake, I did not have enough time to stop. Okay, so I remember clearly whenever I looked, I saw the deer. The headlight was hitting it. It was actually in front of the car. And that was a point where I knew I wasn't going to stop. And so I'm sitting there thinking, oh no, not my mom's car. And so, so I hit the deer. But the thing is, and it's the same thing with her, because, this happened before she told me about her divine intervention. It's like, I saw it. I was looking straight at it. I should have saw me hit this deer. I should have,
Yes.
because I was looking right at it. But I didn't, because that whole part I don't remember. But I did. I heard it and I felt it. I just didn't see it, which is really weird. That's the same thing it was with her. Like, she was looking straight at the guy's truck, and she was close enough to where she would have seen whatever happened, but
it should have happened.
she didn't see anything, and the truck was out of the way, you see? So that's what that's why we keep saying, it's just some kind of divine intervention. It has to be. So I did hear and feel hit the deer, okay? And then I stopped the car and I got out. And I noticed there was an emblem, her little emblem that's for her car was beside the door. So I picked this up and I was like, are you kidding me? And I threw that in the car. But then I'm like, wait a minute, where's the deer at, right? So I look behind the car, and I see deer hair literally right behind the trunk of the car there. The rear end. There's deer hair. But there's no deer. So I'm like, okay, where's the deer? And I look around. Near the car, it's not there either. So I look up ahead, like a whole nother car distance in front of the car. The front of the car is where the deer's at. Okay? So I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be bad. Right? It's going to be bad. Considering all that, it's bad. So I shut the door and I walk up there to look at the damage. And the weird thing is, even though the deer was more towards it was towards the left side over here, the driver's side, but there should have been more damage towards the middle too. But there was nothing. The only damage done to this car was near the driver's side on here, the headlight, and right below it. And that's pretty much it. That's all the damage done to this car, considering all that. That's it. And I was kind of shocked by that, but I was like, okay. And it's still running everything. So I got in and I went to work. And then I had to tell her about it and everything. And I didn't realize, actually, until recently. It was a couple weeks ago. The weird thing about that I didn't notice at the time was I was sitting there and I was looking at another car it wasn't one like hers, but it was a Nissan. And I happened to see that same emblem. And I was like, wait, that's where that goes? Because it was like right in the middle of the front, the grill right there.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, yeah, that's where it goes. I was like, that's really weird. Because this... And I held it up because it was right there still in the middle console. It ain't been put back on there. I held it up. I was like, this was right there at my door when I opened it. It was like literally just laid perfectly right there at the door when I opened it. Which is a weird spot for it to be. There's no damage where it came off of at all or anywhere around it. And there's no reason why it would be right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went straight. And so I found that odd. So then a couple days later, I was sleeping and I got woke up, and for whatever reason, whenever I woke up, I had thought my alarm went off. I cut it off. I missed it, and I was late for work, which I've done several times. Okay. Because I went into work before and I'd be like, my alarm didn't go off. And they're like, what happened to your alarm clock? I was like, well, it'd probably help if I cut the stupid thing on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I jumped up and I jumped up out of bed. I was in a hurry. I tried to grab my phone to unplug it like I usually do, but instead I wound up hitting my finger, bending my nail back, dropping the phone in the floor. So I jump up, I cut on the light, opened the door. I was like, oh yes, my phone. I turned back around, went to grab my phone. As soon as I picked it up and unplugged it, I realized it was only like 3:54 in the morning, and which is, I have plenty of time to still sleep. I was like, what? And so I just threw my phone back down and I cut the light out and laid back down until it went off. Well, there was several times throughout the day that I kept on feeling like I was supposed to look up what that meant biblically, right? And so I was like, I don't know. I guess I was ignoring it. I don't know. And but somehow I kept on hearing or feeling like the meaning of it meant a certain thing, okay? But finally, near the end of the day, I still remembered the number. I still remember, kept on feeling like I was supposed to look it up, so I finally did. And I guess it was around, 3 or so in the afternoon, I finally decided to look it up. And the first meaning that I came to, I think, did I say it was Hebrew or Greek?
Hebrew.
Either ways, I think it was Hebrew, and it said a deer. And I was like, a deer? Are you kidding me? Is this like a divine joke or something? Are you making jokes? And then I heard, keep looking. And I was like, all right. So I kept looking, and I still felt like, before I even found the second meaning, I kept on feeling like it meant something about lift away or lift up or something like that. And so I found the second meaning, and it meant exactly that. I can't remember exactly what it meant, but it was something along those lines.
Lifting up.
And so I was like, wow,
But you had a physical demonstration that morning too about what that meant. When you
Yeah.
jumped out of that bed real quickly.
Yeah, I had a, because I kept on feeling like that also had something to do with it, the way I just jumped up like I did, because I really did think I was late. I thought I was late. So I did. I jumped up and I hurt my finger. But that's what that meant. So I found that really interesting.
It was interesting. Very interesting.
And the other thing I was going to say is, this has been a long time ago, actually, and this is how I learned sometimes you need to be more specific with your prayers. You get what you pray for. So, I was having a lot of trouble out of my tooth. It was infected. And it was hurting really bad. And so, um, it was during COVID, and they were still having a lot of issues with scheduling, getting into a dentist, and stuff like that. So I did try to call a couple places and make an appointment. One of them wouldn't even accept patients or new patients at the time, and the other one I could get into, but it would have been the appointment I made was still like what 2 or 3 months off.
So yeah.
I mean, it was like way away because they're like, well, we're still backed up. We can only see this so many patients a day because the way we're having to do it. And I was like, wow. So I was in pain this whole time, and I tried everything. I went and I got antibiotics, but the antibiotics wasn't really helping because I had to go to a regular doctor to get these antibiotics. They just wasn't helping. They didn't really do anything. And so I prayed for for the pain to go away. I was like, just make the pain go away. I don't really care if it's infected. I just please make the pain go away. And that's exactly what I got. When I went to the appointment, even though I had been on like 2 or 3 rounds of antibiotics by that point, the infection was still there, but it didn't hurt at all during that whole time. There was no pain. I mean, I could poke it and get a little, it would be painful, but otherwise there's no pain. But the infection has never went away at all.
See,
so moral story, you get what you pray for.
So
okay?
you gotta be specific.
And I read this story. This woman, she was in the comments of a video or something. She said that she prayed for God to send an angel to keep her daughter warm because she lived down in Texas before they got that big old snowstorm down there. And she's like, her power never went out, but all her water lines busted. And she's like, so she said the same thing I'm saying. Be specific. You get what you pray for.
That's right. You got to be
But it's
specific.
fine. I was still really grateful. I am still to this day grateful that the pain's gone because that was the biggest issue because I couldn't even talk. I mean, my jaw was swole.
It was, and she was
so
holding
bad.
ice to it.
I was literally carrying an ice pack around just to hold it on my face where it was hurting so bad. I carried an ice pack to church. You remember that?
Yeah, and they pray for you.
So
too.
I am still very thankful about that to this day. But yeah, I'm just letting y'all know.
You got to be specific on what you pray for. Also, be in agreement what you pray for because different prayers has different results, and so you gotta watch that. We've learned that very well here lately.
Well, the Bible says to bind together in prayer. So if you're binding together, it means you're supposed to have the same prayer.
Yeah, that's right.
If you have 3 different prayers, which one gets answered? You know what I mean?
That's right, because one could be for healing, one could be take the pain away, one could be thy will be done, the other could be
just help her.
Just help her. And that's all 4 different prayers right there.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? 4 different prayers. Which one gets answered? You find out when it's over with. So you got to be specific in your prayer. So if you want prayer requests, please drop them in the links below. But be specific because that's what you'll be praying. That's what we're praying.
I understand sometimes people don't want to. They have the unspoken ones.
Yeah.
And I understand that. So I do try to come up with a prayer for that.
Yeah,
so,
we do try to do that.
No matter whatever your prayer request is, whether it's something specific or just something that you don't, an unspoken, if you want to drop in the comments, we do pray for you. I just want to let you know we do actually pray for you. And so I hope this provides somebody with some kind of encouragement and that it helps you. And have a blessed day.
Thank you.